You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Hello and welcome to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, the variety show here on Business Talk Radio and social media. I am your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I am a certified life and career coach. And our program today is going to be outstanding. I'm meeting with my guest. She is a pet psychic and she is out in the California area. So I'm going to welcome her on. We've had a little bit of issue with technology, so let's see if we can. Aminah, hi, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
It's nice to see your avatar. We can't see you, but
if I could get it to dance, I would.
Yes. Well, that's okay. We'll have you back on when we can see you. But I know there's a number of people who are really excited about this show because they're interested in reconnecting with a beloved pet. And so I'm excited to have you on the program. Can you share with us a little bit about your background?
Well, it's pretty easy because the biggest question I get every time is, how did you study for this? How did you know you could do this? So I was crazy about animals my whole entire life. So I was born this way. I would play with the spiders when I was 2, and I would rescue the bugs when I was 3, and I'd talk to them. And I was caught many times talking to the trees and the plants, and it was just who I was. I was really fortunate to have a mom who, with all 5 of us, whatever we were interested in, she made sure we had access to. A professional cellist and a professional seamstress, and then me. I was at the bottom with crazy about animals. I worked in my first wildlife sanctuary when I was 14. And I happened to get to walk the wolves, which were as tall as my waist. And if they wanted to rip my arm off, I would have let them, because I would have just dropped the chain. We had a lion. The sanctuary I worked in was animals that were illegally being used either in movies and or for pets. So we were in the high desert, and people had Arctic foxes. Not a really good combination. So, not a good life for them. We had a lion that absolutely whored everybody, but I was able to feed him because he and I bonded. So I've had a lifetime of practice working in real life. I worked in a vet clinic for a while. So my breadth of knowledge is not only college education, working in the field, but what just God gave me that I hear and I see and I feel.
My understanding from speaking with other psychics is that, as you mentioned, it's a gift that you're born with, and you basically are the messenger. Do you feel that way too?
Absolutely. It's a blessing that you learn to balance. When I first started reading for others and that type of stuff, I made the mistake of treating it like my friends and family, who were the only ones at that time who knew this. You take on, especially for me, I'm also an empath, which means I feel things. I'm much more in tune with how a plant feels more than I see in its leaves and roots, and the same with an animal. So being that I can feel so much, I have to be really careful how much I let in of somebody else's feelings. And it was really tough. I surrounded myself with some amazing people who'd been practicing psychics for, 20, 30, 40 years. And that saved me to know to balance it.
And thanks for sharing that. I love the name of your company, bridgingworlds.us. That's exactly what you're doing. You're taking people here today and connecting them with pets that have passed on. So how did you come up with that name?
Besides my close family members, nobody knows that story. It's kind of funny because once I decided, so psychics have guides. So back up a couple of years and I was told to go public. My psychic, pet psychic in my life, I'd never met her. She's lived in another state and she was retiring, and everybody, and including getting a spiritual guide, saying, no, you need to go public. That was really scary for me. So how do you step out? First of all, being genuine, true to what you want, and then not having to explain. Because sure, I could have done a business pet psychic 101. I don't know, something like that. But I have so much more experience than just what I hear them say. Again, my resume, working with exotics, working here, doing education and working in vet clinic. I'm a trainer also, done tons of it. So it's not how do you pick a name? So I like the word bridging. I know visually a lot of things I could do with it, which again, being an empath, that really makes a difference on how I feel about the picture. But what do I do with bridging? Bridging what? And you try all the words. So guess what I did?
What?
I opened the dictionary. I said, okay, Lord, if this is what you want me to do, help me find the second word.
And there it was.
Yep. Two turns in, because I was like, what? I don't remember what the first one was, but it was like, no, this page is not going to work for me. And then I went to the second word. And then, and I did this like at 2 a.m, told my family that I was living with at the time, because I had just moved back to the Bay Area in California. So it was just like, I know the name, Bridging Worlds. And everybody gets it, just like you. Everybody's like, oh, that makes sense.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
And Aminah, you mentioned just a couple of minutes ago that you decided to go public. So what I'm hearing from that is that was a tough decision for you. Is that accurate?
It was, because if you spend a lifetime knowing something about yourself, but knowing you're not in a culture or in a place where you either understand it when you find out it's different. And I'm coming from a family of athletes, public speakers. Everybody's educated. Both my parents were teachers, but left brains. So if I tell them, oh, by the way, I'm a psychic, either I will be excommunicated or they will just continue, which they did, looking at me like, well, there she goes again. We're not sure what she's doing, but it's genuine.
So was the concern back then that maybe you wouldn't be believed?
Oh, yeah. That was really the first year, because how do you go up to somebody and say, I don't know, let's see, let me be really pedestrian about it. Don't buy that apple. It's a really bad apple. And somebody goes, no, it looks fine. It doesn't have bruises. It's just, I've looked at it. It smells good. No, I just know it's a bad apple. And now you can make that metaphorical or literal. How would I know that? Well, why would anybody take my word for it? It makes you talk to your guides a lot and go, really? You chose me? So
that's amazing. So you heard from your guides, but you also, I would think, had to have a certain amount of confidence and belief in what you knew you were destined to do.
Absolutely. Again, I have known that I knew things. I've always spoken in the first person when my sisters or my brother or wherever would tease our cat or whatever, because I was the only animal person in the family who cared. But once in a while, you'd see another kid, pull their toe or something. And I'm like, don't do that. Didn't you hear? He doesn't like that. I always spoke in the first person. About, I want to guess around between the time I was 6 and 8, that went away. Meaning I could really tell I was weird. I was perceived as weird. So I studied animals. I took animal science course. I did the normal, if you're crazy about animals, oh, well, and then I can speak from the science, not just the woo-woo place, as people call it.
So in order to have credibility for yourself, you decided to get the education to go along with the gift that you already had?
I wouldn't say it was for an education for myself. And the reason I say that is because it feels like I need to quantify what God gave me with human requirements. No, I wanted to be more well-rounded because I had planned to spend time in Africa and I needed a certain expertise, which they want letters after your name for. So I need to compete in the world I do live in to be able to network, learn from people. I'm passionate about their work. I was really fortunate to not only been invited, but to attend Jane Goodall's event when she came to Southern California. And it was like my childhood coming back and saying, and there's a woman I'd like to have mimicked her life. But this is my trajectory. So I want to balance what I know God-given by an extreme amount of real life, because I think people who come to me love my sarcasm, my humor, and my ability to just say, you know, I will always be honest with you, good, bad, or ugly. You're going to know the truth.
I really love that. And, you know, I can't see you. I see your avatar, but I already feel like I already trust you. And I feel like your background is so unique, all the work that you've done already, that I think you truly have this gift. And I'm glad that you're out in the world sharing it.
Well, you know, there's so many animals that need a human voice. And there's so many people doing that good work. You and I know there's a million platforms out there today. I'm only on a few that I feel that I can do some good and or I learn something from. So Facebook and LinkedIn is where you can find me socially. Facebook, you're going to get sarcasm, you're going to get silly puppy movies, and you're going to get heartwarming recoveries from injury, but mostly rescue. I'm going to support all of those places out there. I do a lot of free talks for them. I do a lot of pro bono work to help out in an event. One early last year, I was invited, same as kind of as what you're doing, online, and they were doing a fundraiser. So all of us, the dog food places, donated dog food and talked about it, and you know, rescuers and all that, and people that did everything animal. So I was on there and explaining what I do and what you're missing, my great backdrop and everything. But you can go to my website and see all that. And the gentleman shared with me at the very end that he had lost his dog like 6 months to a year ago or something. And started, of course, like most pet owners, talking how much they loved him and how sad they were, sir, but he was sick and da-da-da-da. So what he doesn't know is Puppy joined us. And so I always try to ask permission because I want to respect everybody's feeling about this part of the world. I didn't think about it because when I was in my 20s, because I didn't know anybody else did anything different. So I asked him, I said, would you like to know what your dog feels about that? Because he'd asked this question in a statement, you know, gosh, I wish I knew how he was doing, if he was okay. Did I make the right choices? All the things at the end of life pet owners worry about. So I asked him his permission. He's like, you mean my dog is here? And I went, yeah. This is all live filmed for this 24-hour fundraiser. And so, of course, I was able to later get a copy of it. But I love the organic. Just with what you do also is you do these live interviews and amazing things happen. Even when you think you fumbled and we didn't get the video or whatever, you and I went with it. And it's going to be that organic reach to the person who wants to hear the message.
I completely agree. We have to take a break, but when we come back, I'd like to talk about, so you are the messenger, you have this gift, you have this incredible background. How do you turn that into a business? Because we have a lot of business people who are watching and listening to this program. We're on Business Talk Radio, and maybe people are in a career or a job that they don't want to be in, and they want to have their own business. So I always think it's interesting to talk to entrepreneurs about how you take your talent and your gifts and then make it into a successful business.
Great. Can't wait.
We'll take a break and we'll be right back with Aminah, who is a pet psychic. She's a speaker and a trainer, and she's joining us from California. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Good evening and welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn here on Business Talk Radio and social media. We'd love to hear from you, by the way, so please reach out with your comments. And my guest today is joining us from California. Her name is Aminah, and she is a pet psychic, trainer, and speaker. Her company is Bridging Worlds. Aminah, thanks for staying with us through the break.
Thanks so much.
And before the break, we had teed up the idea of talking about how you take your talents, your gifts, and you make them into a successful business. Can you share with us how that worked for you?
Absolutely. And I really appreciate you asking me, because I really did it differently. And I got a lot of flack for it from all the professionals. And I'm really glad that I met great mentors in the beginning, and I worked with them for a year, and then I added the next mentor on advertising, or added the next mentor with social media and all of this. I've read a lot. I also, in my personal life, have people in my world that have their own businesses online, are much younger, so they know, can you see my air quotes? They know more than we do. And why don't we do this and this and this? So as you and I know, there's a pattern of, okay, first you do this, then you do this, and then you do this. Then you're successful. It's like, well, that doesn't work for all businesses, and it didn't work for me. Again, I needed to feel my way through it. I needed to test my way through it. Now, did I absolutely have these mentors? As I said in the beginning, yes. I got coaches. I got those, but I got better at choosing the coach. It wasn't just some random thing. My first business coach was actually an expert at Meetup, and I had gone to Meetup for years. It was a great way to try out how I wanted to do readings and how I wanted to do group readings, and it was great. And I have him in my life today that I could still ask questions from. Then you get, some other advertising stuff. Well, I had people in my world, in my personal life, that thought they knew everything about advertising. And then I would try the algorithm that Facebook or so-and-so set up for that type of advertising. And they spectacularly failed because I didn't stay true to me. Even though I was brand new at it, brand new. We have a passion for what we do for a reason. So I suggest stick with what you know in the beginning. Absolutely go with a general algorithm. It could work for you. Start somewhere, get all the advice you can, but remember, you pay the bill, you get to decide. Even when people vehemently, which they did with me, disagree. That's okay. I learned a lot, and now I know exactly where to place my ads. I know exactly what my demographic is. I know exactly what time, given 5 hours, because they're all over the world, when to advertise and who I'm targeting. And I don't feel bad about not including everybody, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea or trainer that you want to talk to.
Aminah, you brought up so many important points in what you just said. First of all, I have to share that I have spent a lot of money on advertising different places that was a complete waste of time.
Exactly.
But other people oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. And you don't follow your intuition. So So I think that that's really key for people watching and listening, that you'll get a lot of advice that is maybe well meant, but it's not going to pan out. So
yeah, you have to figure out, I'm not saying, and I think you would agree, don't fall on your face. I'll tell you, your best lessons are going to be you fell on your face. But fall on your face with $50 invested instead of $500 invested.
I love that. Yes.
Okay. It's about, limitations and modesty on everything. Try it. Like for me, I did a Facebook ad and I just threw it out there with their algorithm. Said, go ahead. You've been doing this forever. You want to see me succeed? Let's see what you got. Epic failure. Epic failure. Men are good pet owners. They're great. But who asked me for help? 99.9 are women of a certain age. When I knew this, because I tried a couple of ads in different platforms, you get down, wait a minute, who's responding? Women from 40 to 80. Do I like the 20-year-olds? Yes, but they don't usually have the money. Know your audience. It's okay to learn and do inexpensive short runs. Obviously, you got to do them long enough to figure out if it's 30 days or 60 days or whatever. But short runs, and then say, okay, I use a picture on my last 2 ads, the same picture. It's a Labrador laying on a park bench, the fancy wooden ones that you see and all that kind of stuff. And the owner has leaned over and said, I thought we talked about this. Don't do that. It's as simple as that. It's sarcastic. I do a lot of them. And I get a million people making comments. Oh my God, I talked to my dog like that. And oh my God, I told him not to do this. He'd always digging holes and chasing people in the park. It starts a conversation because my clients resonate with the silly, sarcastic, and the reality that we all talk to our pets in public. So what I'm telling everybody is, do you, regardless of the best advice you give. I might tell you to do something, but it's good for me. Might not be good for you. Do you just figure out who you are? It takes time sometimes. On a commercial sense, you can do the rest of the research with somebody else.
It sure does. And what I found is, and I'd like to know your thoughts on this when you think back to when you started your business, there are a lot of carrots out there, people dangling carrots. Oh, if you advertise in here and if you do this and you do that. And I did follow some of those things. And again, I advertised in golf magazines because, everybody wants a coach, or complete waste of money, waste of time. So beware of those dangling carrots.
Well, and your example is perfect. I spectacularly wasted my time because I split my money with males that don't seek my service, but less than 1%. You just said you went to golf advertising. Right. And I'm thinking, okay, shoot the person who gave you the advice because they didn't look at you. And now I have a little bit more going. I've seen your website. I've watched your show. I have seen you interact, and being an empath, your body language is inviting and solicitory to your guests as far as getting everybody a conversation. I can see all that, and most people should. Well, anybody who's doing advertising has to know this is who she is. So she needs to sell, I understand, I'm going to work with you. I'm a team player, but I'm the biggest cheerleader you're going to have. And that's the impression I get from all that I've seen you do, which is a very small. I still have much more to watch.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So I'd like to ask you, so we've talked about your talent, your gifts, your background. We've talked about your business and that journey. Now let's talk about the actual services that you provide. So I had 3 dogs all at the same time, and they all passed away. And let's say I want to work with you. What does that interaction look like? How do I hire you?
Give me a call, send me an email, whatever works for both of us. And we find a time and I do it by phone because I have clients in Croatia. I got them last year. It was very nice. Somebody who moved there, and Spain and all that. So time zones are something I'm constantly asking. What time zone are you in? So we can all accommodate each other. I only need a phone call. Just like now, I might be able to see you live. You're not able to see me live. But we have a connection. I can hear your voice. I can feel what you're feeling and that kind of stuff. And I always tell everybody, your animal has the right to say no. Now, I've only been turned down once, and we got around that with him. But there has to be they have free will to come to the conversation. 99% of the time, they want to be there. The people who ask for my help talk to their pets. Let me leave that one statement with everybody. Please talk to your pets because they understand body language better, because animals are all about body language. That's how they survive in the wild. Remember, dogs were wolves once, cats were everything, and the tail, the foot, the ear, all of this is a conversation without the meow or the bark. So we need to teach our pets what it means when our energy changes or our hand signals are changes. So talk to your pets. Tell them about your day. I don't care. It's all really enriching for both of you. So I apologize. I might have got off into a tangent. How do you book an appointment? You call me, you write me, and you say, I really need to talk to you. You don't have to pre-tell me. It's not like I go out and lift weights for, okay, we're going to have a dog food issue. I don't have any of that. I get to a quiet space and place. Of course, I have an emergency line that if we're dealing with something like that, I will pick up almost that if I am able to anywhere I am, because people do deal with end of life. And that's one of the most difficult is I just honestly don't think we should be the ones deciding who lives and who dies, but sometimes it's because we know that we have the mercy and we have the ability to do it lovingly and kindly and, and that type of stuff. So big choices, big decisions. New adoptions, that's a lot of fun. I get told secrets, so be careful. I was doing a forum class, and everybody was free to ask me a question, and a young girl got done asking me about her live-in boyfriend, and we weren't getting along and doesn't like my dog. So we did some dog trips. And then she went to sit down, and I said, whoa, wait a minute. Why are you in danger? And she said, oh, my dog told you? And I went, yeah. The boyfriend had just told her he was going to kill her.
Oh my.
And the dog can feel that the man means it. And he does, and so dog narked on her big time. You just seen there were 90% women in the room. They were ready to go walk home with her and escort him off the village. Don't anger a whole room full of women. That's just not a good idea. But I do get those types of things that are necessary to move you forward and heal you. A woman who in her 40s came to one of my workshops and asked me about a dog when she was 10. And I said, okay, well, and he was there. But she had very cruel, what are they, parents that are you're just with for a short time.
Foster?
Yes, she was in a foster care situation. And so she had the dog, but she'd been there like for 4 or 5 years. And all of a sudden the dog was gone. And they said that the neighbor probably shot it and it ran away. I said, again, do you want to know the truth? And she's like, yeah. I said, no, they shot him. They got rid of him. They didn't want him there.
Gosh.
And, the cruelty of some of the things. And the dog just wanted her to have closure. She'd been festering about this for 20 years. And there was nothing you can do about it. She suspected they'd done it. This was not news. This was confirmation of, okay, close that door. Let's let it go. Because this was probably what happened, but you were an orphan who hadn't grown up, this was okay to deal with at this point. And that's why the puppy said, no, she needs to know now that, yeah. And she was able to let that go. So everybody's at a different place of what they can hear. So hopefully that's what we do is we tell you what you're ready to hear, even if you don't think you are. It always comes out at the end that's what you're ready to hear because that's what came from.
So you work with clients who their animals may have passed, but also their animals they're alive, and you get messages that you can deliver to them real time.
Well, yeah, because animals are much more spiritual than we'll ever be able to touch. You've got plants that open because God said this is time, and we don't even begin to scratch why a tree does what a tree does and feels it on the roots, and talk to a redwood sometime. It's just magical what they do. You get the message that because let me be really clear about one thing. This is not about me. I am simply the telephone. I got one ear on one person. I got another ear on another person, and everybody has free will to join the call. I am nothing but the translator in between. And truly, if I could put that on everything and everybody understand what that means, I use it in descriptions, but not any other place unless I'm speaking to you, because you feel like, what? You're what? I'm taking what your dog said that you can't see or hear, and I'm taking into people language, which you can. Then I take what you say in people language and I show them pictures. Animals are very visual. So I show them pictures of what you want. Let's say you want to change a behavior. Don't scratch on the wood wall. That's a pretty great picture. Claws down, go to the scratch post. I'm being very, very simplistic about it, but I want everybody to get. So my conversation is to take your words, make them pictures, feelings. Animals are as empathetic and as cognizant of feelings as I am, and you are, but they feel them a little differently. So I have enough training. I've trained plenty of animals and physically, and I can show them techniques of how they can say, oh, she doesn't like that? No, we don't like that. So a lot of times when I'm answering back, it's a we thing, because the dog and I, or the cat and I, or whatever. I've had conversations across the board. The reptile's a little tough. They don't really have that cognition. So luckily I've worked with reptiles for years, and I can talk. One of my clients loves to talk about caging. Do I need another cage? Do I need another bowl? So I have plenty of experience and I can have that conversation.
That's really fascinating. I'm wondering, I'm just thinking back to the dogs that I had, and I'm sure this must have happened with other people. With the 3 dogs that I had, one of them was really always bothering the other 2. You're kind of mean and nasty. And I'm wondering if the other 2 dogs, if they could speak, if they would say, I wish Star would have left me alone. She was constantly bothering me. I mean, do you ever do work where there's a group of animals and
absolutely. Or a group of humans? Sometimes it's both in the same family. So were your dogs siblings?
No, they weren't. I had 2 Coton de Touliers and a Maltese. And the one Coton, she had been abused by her first owner. And she was beautiful. She was like a queen. Like you could just see her, the way she would carry herself. But she was always mean to the other 2 dogs.
Mm. She all she keeps showing me is, well, that was yesterday. And I'm like, well, I don't know what that means. She said she didn't like them. Did she come first? Did you adopt her first?
Oh my gosh. I think I got Ritzy first. I had Ritzy, then Star, and then Eiffel. And Ritzy and Star were both show dogs. Mm-hmm. And Star had a bad patella. She had a bad kneecap, so they couldn't show her anymore. And then I got little Eiffel. She was my pride and joy. But she was a Maltese, and she would clap like this. She would go up and down on her back legs.
I've seen it.
So they were good dogs. But that Star, she was just beautiful, but she was mean.
Yeah. And did you take her to the vet at some point?
Yes, we had a very bad experience at the vet, actually. And Eiffel actually died I took them all to the groomer. So it was a groomer / vet. And while we were there was this big trauma because Eiffel had this little thing on her face and they nicked it. And it turns out it was cancerous. And then Star was there when Eiffel was, they're like code blue. Ouch. So.
Okay. Yeah. I keep getting something about a vet or not a vet or medical, but I didn't know what that was. Okay. So your question is that you wanted to know if she just didn't like them?
No, I just wanted to know in general, like if people have multiple animals, just like people have kids and maybe one's a bully, do people hire you to understand the dynamics that the animals have with each other?
Absolutely. And I do a lot of animal education. Again, it's my degree anyway in real college. People college was, animal science was my major. But you've got to deal with an animal on the basis of what it is. It's the same with us. If you're an introvert, but you want to go to the circus every day and you marry an extrovert, it's going to be messy if they don't understand each other. So with dogs, I talk about the pack mentality a lot because it's what they know, it's what they breathe and do and their go-to. Cats, they live alone. They can live alone for the rest of their life, get together for breeding, they're on. So you're dealing with the type of animal you're dealing with. So yours, she keeps saying she's fighting for something. I don't understand.
I think she was fighting for attention.
Yeah, and there was something else. Dogs don't hold a grudge, so what she's showing me doesn't make sense. And I was like, what? Somebody did something? What?
Yeah, she was definitely abused by the people who had her in Texas.
Okay.
So when I first got her, I remember she was in the front seat of the car and she was flown in, I think on Delta Airlines, and she had this orange carrot in her cage, and the poor thing was shaking horribly. So I think that probably
and she's saying she's agreeing with you completely. I'm trying to listen to her because she's very much about feelings. Does this make sense? She's very. I'm asking her to show it to me. So she would be like a cat rubbing against your leg, except for a dog. So does this make sense? She keeps showing me that she has deep feelings, and she's like, the first time I said that, she's like, "What?" But your face helped, and your energy, because you and I could translate that into our body. So she's more listening to you than me. I'm again just the editor.
No, I think that's definitely true.
She's got those issues, and she said you always understood.
I did.
She's showing me some point that you were working really hard to figure it all out. Must have been the beginning when you guys were first started.
Well, I would talk to her and I would say, listen, you're so beautiful, but you're crazy sometimes. What's up with you, girl?
That must be it. Because she shows me this conversation going over, and then she showed it to me again and over. I'm thinking, but I don't hear any words. And so there it is. She wanted you to say it out loud. And what she likes and she wants you to know is she loves what had happened to your energy. You got happy memories, laughed about a time with her.
Yes. Yeah, that's
what she loves about the conversation we're having.
That's actually true. Well, tell her I said hi.
You don't need to. She heard you.
She heard.
Talk to her anytime. She said you already do.
Hi, Star. We have to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, but stay with us here with Aminah, who is a pet psychic, a speaker, and a trainer with Bridging Worlds. And again, we'd love to hear from you. Put some comments in, and we will certainly read them. We'll be right back. Located at 121 Haddon Avenue in Westmont, New Jersey, is Margie Cedrone, artisan jeweler. Margie's been in business for more than 30 years. She works with her clients to create custom pieces of jewelry to reflect their personality and help them make their own bold statement. Starting in the renowned Jewelers Row in Center City, Philadelphia in 1988, Margie works directly with her clients to develop one-of-a-kind pieces such as necklaces, engagement rings, wedding bands, unique watches and tennis bracelets, as well as a myriad of rings and earrings for everyone in your family. She also has worked directly with Dr. Jacalyn over the years, creating unique pieces of jewelry to reflect her personality. She does pearl stringing and repairs on site at 121 Haddon Avenue. Call or text Margie at 215-384-7155. Margie Cedrone Jewelry is open by appointment only. Make your own bold statement.
Looking for children's books to embrace the imagination, to inspire your kids to be the best they can be and to love themselves? Look no further. Children's author DianeFloydBain.com. You'll find the books right there and on Amazon and local stores.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Welcome back. You are tuned into Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn on Business Talk Radio and social media. And my guest today is someone who is really fascinating. Her name is Aminah, and she is a pet psychic, a trainer, and a speaker. Her company is Bridging Worlds. Welcome back, Aminah.
Thank you so much.
I could talk to you for hours, actually. So many questions, and I feel this connection with you. So one thing I really want to share just with our audience is, obviously we can't see you, but we decided to go forward with the show anyway. And I think that's really an important lesson, that everything isn't always the way it's supposed to be in our minds. But if we push through, we persevere, we never know what's going to happen. So you and I could have decided not to do this interview, and we would never have had this great conversation that I think people can really benefit from.
Well, I really appreciate that. And I know your end did a lot of work to get here. And, it was on my schedule. And what else did you and I have to do? We might as well. and that's the way I love you bringing that up. Tie it back to what you said is advertising and starting your business. Don't be afraid to fall on your face, as long as you don't scar it up, because you'll learn more, you'll remember it, you'll go, that's not good. And I don't mean, just like we said, no, not hundreds of dollars. Try 1 month for 30 or something like that, because not all outlets of advertising are appropriate. Are all female pet parents, whatever, on YouTube or on here or on there? No. So you find your own. I really want to leave that as one business owner to another. I turned a lot of advice away, but it took me months of making the mistakes that they wanted me to do, that I knew it wasn't mine. When in my heart, I knew it was the bad choice. I just had no experience to back it up with any evidence.
And I love what you said, in your heart, you knew. And that's the same thing with me. We have this intuition. And I think when I don't want to say younger people do this, because that's not what I'm trying to say. When I was younger, I wasn't listening to my intuition as much as I am today.
Absolutely. And I've made a living of it. And I know in the beginning, when I was doing private clients, I was like, I get to do this like for money because I feel so blessed. And it may be a bad analogy, but it's the only one I've got. It's like if you ask me what's it like to be a white girl, I'm thinking, I don't know. I haven't been anything else.
Right.
So I don't see privilege, or I don't see downside. All the things that happen in advertising or in putting out in your business, you have good days, you have bad days, your image is what, blah, blah, blah. Find your image, find your thing, and go with it. But I empower you you're going to trip and fall a little bit, but that's okay because you're growing. Just remember, just put one foot in front of the other, you're growing.
And something else that you said that I really believe in it, and I tripped and fell in this area, is not everyone's going to like us. And we don't need everyone to like us. We need to like ourselves and have passion for what we're doing so that we stay in the lane where we can bring the most value. But I know for a long time, I was always like, what? Why are you mad? Or what, why aren't you calling back? It's like, no, it's not a good fit for everyone.
Right. No. And it's getting to that point where you trust yourself. And I struggled with it. Obviously, you struggle with it. We all kind of go, what the heck am I doing? And how am I different? And all this kind of stuff. For me, I had never, ever, ever told my siblings, which I have 4, that I have always hurt animals, because I said something when I was little. I remember when I was about 5 or 6, I said, don't do that. He doesn't like it. I would speak in the first term. And I got the worst look on their face. And I went, I don't think I want to say that anymore or be weird or whatever. Now, my children were raised with it. I always spoke in the first. It was my graduation. My mentor, she said, you need to go public. What? At the time, I was working in a wildlife sanctuary. They would have escorted me out with police behind me if I had said that out loud at work. So I didn't. I didn't bring that there. I learned. I had God-given moments where you go, that was it. There were so many examples. I'm not going to waste your whole time, but live that purpose with everything and see, even if it's hindsight, we do learn from hindsight.
We sure do. And Aminah, you mentioned the word weird, that you don't want people to think you were weird. Don't you think it could also be that people place judgments on us based on their own fear?
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I think, I hate to talk in the first person, but I think you exactly are going to get this. We are strong women. Yes. We offend lots of people. and it took me, I have a mother who was in, we're talking I'm the last child. So she would have been in her 30s and 40s and 50s during a time where women were barely voting. And typical wife of a large family, dad went to work. He was much more open-minded, but it still was that diagram of how our family worked. So doing what we do is just so foreign to them. But she did. She worked and she did this, and we public spoke. But she made sure each of her children stayed in the lane of their favorite. My sister was a professional cellist. My other sister I wanted to be around animals. She got me every opportunity possible, which made it quantify that what I felt was doable. If you don't have that kind of parent, sometimes you just, you gotta stick to you when you can. And sometimes it's after you move out of the house.
It's true. I found, and I'd like to know your thoughts on this, I found that during this pandemic, because I am isolated, I have been able to find my true passion. And because I found it, like if I was in the world I was in before, there were so many distractions and so many people telling me, what are you doing? You're on the radio. Do you actually think you're going to do something? You're going to be something? It's like, yeah, I'm going to help people. I'm going to give people a platform to speak. That's ridiculous. You should. And now that COVID has forced me to isolate, quarantine with my mom, I've been able to focus on exactly what it is I want to focus on that really brings me so much joy.
And there's the part I was waiting for. Brings you joy. So if you're in your bliss, how much value do you think people who come to you for help or come to you as a friend, whatever, are in your life, glean from you? Tremendous. As opposed to all the Debbie Downers. Sorry,
Right.
I have all the Debbies in the world, but it rhymes. So I don't know about you, but it's not good for me to hang out with them. I have friends who have bad times. That's different. I'm talking about somebody who lives down all the time. Life's too short. It really is.
It is. So I'm hoping that people out there are finding their joy and finding their passion, because if I don't know when there would be another time that you could have all this opportunity to get in touch with who you are and what it is that really excites you, what it is that really makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning.
Absolutely. And look at, jumping off of what you said, look at all the free internet stuff from talks or wherever. You could literally start a degree every month and never finish it and have, a little education in all your dream subjects. I suck at art. My mother's an artist. Her brother was an artist. And I was like, oh man, I came from a different family. But I didn't take art classes. It would have been a waste of time. But you might love art. You might love singing or music. Do it.
Do it now.
Because you're going to live your life every day with the responsibilities we all have. That just is. But if it brings you joy, for me, it's going for a walk. Just clears everything, because I am a plant organic person. If I have a bad day, put my hands in some soil. I can't do that anymore, but due to an injury. So otherwise, know your bliss. This is the perfect time to say, we are all going to get through this. Just stay home, stay healthy. And there's a million of us here online to help you through it.
That's the one thing I love about coaches, that coaches are really open to helping one another, sharing ideas, because I think we believe in humanity, in the goodness of people. And I think most of us are also very grateful for all that we have. So we want to spread that joy and make people smile.
Absolutely. I mean, if you want the biggest cheerleader ever, you find the right coach for you. Because you and I both know the wrong coach is still the wrong coach. It doesn't matter if she's your wrong neighbor or not. But the right coach is going to cheer you on the good days, the bad days, the medium days, and all of that, because that's what putting yourself together in any business is. Work.
Sure is. Aminah, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. This is usually a 30-minute show, but because we have our own channel, it can be as long as we want. We spent an hour, and I feel very close to you. I could just chat with you for hours more. So I'd love to have you come back on the program, and we'll get your video working and chat some more if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. And you know what would be fun is, I haven't done in a while, is we could dedicate topics, have something that we just stick to for 30 minutes, training or something that people want to vote on and say, hey, what do you want me to cover? And then you and I can talk to either one person or at least cover their topic. Make it personal to everybody now that they know who I am and you and our relationship in the conversation. I think it would be fun to bring somebody's question in.
So have sort of like a poll or a vote?
Any way you want to do it, and say, hey, submit a question. And I can either go through them and pick one, or I would rather you go through and pick one. And if we decide to have them on a live call, even better, because I get their energy as much than just reading it. I'm not a fan of just reading it. I want to feel, it's lovely to see you. Sorry you don't get to see me. But looks kind of like the picture. So yeah, it would be really fun to get them on the call. And again, you guys get to choose who I would never see them. I don't need to. I work best on just feeling when you deliver your question.
Well, I have a great idea that I just popped into my head.
There you go.
So I'm going to contact you after the show and run it by you and see.
Okay, keep it a mystery. Yay.
So how can people get in touch with you? We're showing your website, which is bridgingworlds.us, but you also mentioned your phone number. I can change this.
No, just put Bridging Worlds there because it's easy to put a text in. Phone calls go straight to voicemail. I have a service that does that. So it's easier if you text me and say what you're looking for or whatever, and then I can send you. But everything you want to know about me, all my YouTube channels, which are not many, but I had to do that. All the things about how my gift works and all that, everything, including this event today, is on my website. So put the website out there, please. And then people, I hope, get a lot of their questions answers before they need to message me.
And so for people on Business Talk Radio, the website is https:// bridging, BRIDGING, worlds, WORLDS.US / So please reach out to Aminah. She truly is gifted. She obviously really cares. And I think that you are a wonderful person. So thank you for this opportunity to meet you. And I look forward to our next endeavor.
I know we're going to create something amazing.
Yes, we are. So I hope you have a lovely evening, Aminah. I'll just close out the show and I'll be right back.
Thank you.
Okay. And thank you to our loyal listeners and our viewers. We really appreciate it. This is a relatively new show, The Variety Show. I think we started maybe 6 weeks ago or so. And I just want to give you just a quick overview. It's Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. We have our own channel on Business Talk Radio. So if you go to businesstalkradio1.com, and you can find Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, it's our own channel. We have our business show Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and we have a brand new platform called A Better You. Lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And this is an opportunity. It's a 90-minute program where anybody out there, if you're a presenter, a coach, a consultant, trusted advisor, and you feel that you are the best or one of the best in your industry, you will come on our program and you will present for 15 minutes. The other 75 minutes, you would be a panelist with the other 3 presenters and myself. So there's 5 of us all together. You can sign up for that on the website. That's drjacalyn.com, and it's A Better You. We have our own page there. So we have those 2 programs on Wednesday. Thursdays, we have A Better You from 11 to 12:30 Eastern Time. And then we have It's All About Dating, which is a fun show. That's at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. And then Fridays, our 5 o'clock show, Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity, and the 6 o'clock, The Variety Show. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Aminah, again. It was really a delight to meet you. And I look forward to seeing you in a future show. Have a wonderful weekend. Be kind to each other. Take care.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.